AFA Hall of Fame in 1996. As president of the American Football Association, the AFA, your leadership, dedication, and perseverance and total commitment to semi-pro football has been an inspiration to everyone involved with the AFA. The American Football Association alumni, under your direction, has grown to a positive dimension with your new leadership. On behalf of the Elmhurst Travelers Football Alumni Association, a charter member of the AFA, we do hereby bequeath this proclamation to show our appreciation for your continued advice and guidance in our first year of existence. The Elmhurst Travelers Football Alumni will always support you and the AFA. You are a credit to semi-pro football and truly exemplify the AFA motto of being semi-pro and proud. Congratulations, Elmhurst Travelers Football Alumni Association, dated October 23rd, 2009. Congratulations, Dave. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the people that donated things for the raffle. It'd be Joe Wolf, Bob Gallegos, Craig Ochoa, Dave Hermandi, Senior, Rhonda and Seal, Real, and Roman Struzza that was here. So we want to thank them for the donations they gave for the raffle. We're going to have a couple of things at the end. We're going to raffle the ones on the back table. Then right at the end, we've got 3 things that we'll auction off. They're sitting over here on the left. So I think I got to take care of this housekeeping first, see. Okay, now we're going to get into the presentations, and we're going to do this by alphabet, and we have one lady, and over there I was talking to her, we'd be ladies first, but unfortunately, you know, we're PC now. Ladies don't go first anymore. I taught too many years, you know. I got into too much trouble thinking about that, you know, so I've been whipped into shape. But anyway, we're going to do it by alphabet, and what I'll do is I'll introduce the presenter, and the presenter then, and of course, introduce the inductee. And in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll call who's on deck. So we'll always have one over here. Now remember, at the end we'll get some pictures over there of you. And there's one other thing we'd like you to do after you get your award, is we have a football up here, and we'd like to have all the inductees sign it. So we have all the 2009 inductees signing one of the footballs. Okay, without going any further, here's how we'll start right now. Wes Fisher is the presenter of Alexander Monroe, and Neil Anderson will be the presenter of Benjamin Westchester. So if the first ones come up, and the second ones can be over there. Be in order.
Dave, did you notice all these guys limp up to the podium? They limp up. I'm next.
Right here.
Sure. All right.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, dude.
Come on over, Bill. I'd like to introduce you to Bill Alexander. I'm Wes Fisher. I had the honor of nominating him, and I really thank the board of directors, and especially the Ron Reel family. God bless Ron Reel. God bless his family. And look what people working together can do. Talk about team. I always talk to my players about team and what it means. And as far as Bill and I, we played together back in the 60s, and we've been friends ever since. Bill is a tremendous individual. I've been with him through terrible things. I've been with him through wonderful things, and I'm honored to call him my friend. He's always been there when I needed him, and I try to do that for him. Bill played his last game when he was 51 years old. Bill played on a winning high school program. As long as the years he was played there, 4 years, they never lost. And he went and he played at Shoreline Community College. And Coach Mike Price was one of his teammates at that time. And so he's got quite a history. Played at Wazoo, graduated from college there. Next thing you know, we're playing together, playing semi-pro football. And as you can see, he's been many places. Then he came back to where his friends are, back to the Vikings, and he's been there for many years with me. And Bill Alexander, I'm so proud to see you here. And hopefully we have many more years. The years I get to spend, I'll spend them with folks like you. Your plaque, bud.
I'm not used to doing this. I want you to all know that this is a tremendous honor to be selected. I want to thank Jim Jogan, my high school football coach at Lake Washington High School, for showing me what it is to coach. And I want to thank Bert Clark, my coach at Washington State University, for showing me what it is not to be a coach. I want to thank Wes Fisher for the example, for honor and sticking with things. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. And one other thing, if you're staying in this hotel, you might notice that the little bottle of mouthwash looks just like the cream rinse. Thank you.
At least I'm not the only one. Okay, we'll have Neil Anderson now, and then we'll have Joe Thomas next. Neil Anderson.
Hello. Hello. My God, I feel like I'm at a sales convention. My name's Neil Anderson. Pardon me? Bring it in front of me. I'll get rid of it for you. Anyway, let's get to the main factor here. Hello again. My name's Neil Anderson. I'd like to introduce you in a moment to Jimmy Baina. Jimmy graduated from Morton High School and went on to Southern Illinois, where he played football. He graduated from Southern Illinois and he went and joined the Elmer's Travelers in 1961 and played until 1967. There used to be a team called the Chicago Panthers, owned by Marty O'Connor, the lady, and they played the Elmer's Travelers in Soldier Field in 1966. And Jimmy was on that team. I was not on that team. He was captain of the team and also selected most valuable player for the game. This is in Soldier Field. I met Jimmy in 67 and played linebacker with him. He was on my left side. One of the incidents I very, very vividly remember is almost it was yesterday. Nobody got around. You hear this from other people when they say about their players and their friends. Nobody got around Jimmy Baina. As you know, on an 043 Pro, if the strong side was to your side, you came up with face over the end. Or you were stacked behind the tackle to your side. We were playing Racine. Any Racine Raiders here? God bless. You came down. I know. You in the game. They got down on their 3rd-yard line. By now, George Colton had sold the team, and they were called the Arlington Heights Northwest Travelers. And we were playing in Des Plaines, Arlington Heights North, playing in Des Plaines. And we were on the 3-yard line, and I was on the goal line. Jimmy was to my left. And the quarterback pitched to go around the right side. Now, this is the way Baina played football. He took the defensive end out. He knocked down the interference. He tackled the quarterback. Quarterback had to jump in the air over it, caused the fumble. I got the fumble, ran up the sideline, pitched it back to my cornerback, and we scored and won the game. If it hadn't been for Jimmy Baina, we wouldn't have won the game. He didn't get the hand claps. The guy that scored the touchdown, the guy that I was, patted me on the back. But here's the one that won the game for me. I can distinctly say something about Jimmy. If you're going to describe him as a football player, he played backup quarterback, he played cornerback, and he played outside linebacker at about 195 pounds. He played like he was 250. Now, if there were 3 words I could describe this gentleman as or with, it would be tough, tough, and what's the last one? You got it. He was tough. Now, behind us all, we have a good woman. I hope. I say that with today's age. To make a long story short, Judy Baina led the cheerleading squad for 3 years. This is Mrs. Baina. Would you please acknowledge her? And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our new inductee, Jimmy Baina.
Well, I'm glad Neil did most of the talking because I don't talk that much. First off, I played semi-pro ball. Really, it let me play something I loved, and I'll remember it till the day I can't breathe anymore. I've had so many friends, longtime friends now, and that's about it. I want to thank the American Football Association and everybody involved in this. Roman did a fantastic job. And the board of directors and the people that voted for me, I want to thank you. That's it. I'm not a big talker.
Joe Thomas. Is Joe around?
Yes, he's here.
Oh, here he comes. Okay. Joe Thomas is going to do Justin Binstead first, and then Mike Blazitz second. Joe.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Thomas. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1994, and it was one of the greatest things that I ever had happen. I've been in football for 65 years as a player, a coach, and now part owner of a football team. And one of the best things that ever happened to me for all through those years was my induction into this Hall of Fame here. And I'm here tonight. One of our players, Tug Binstead, he couldn't make the trip because he's a dentist and he couldn't get anybody to cover all these dental appointments, and he hated to miss it, but I told him I'd say a couple of nice things about him. He's an All-American boy, like all of these players. Really loved to play the game and did a very good job playing with Team USA. He got his start in there through Mr. Reel, as I did also, and we're very thankful for that. I've told many people that Ron Reel probably did more for the amateur athlete than anybody you could ever name. And any honors that goes his way, he surely deserves them. As far as Tug Binstead, he was a great player. He played for Jim Nugent on several occasions, and he was actually the type ball player that all of us was in our days, and he'll be a great member. Thank you. I'm going to just say, I got Mike, yeah.
Here, that's for the other one.
Okay, I got a the second honor here tonight, introducing Mike Blazett. Mike is a great friend of mine, and we did a lot of things together. He's a great promoter of youth football and spends a lot of time donated to youth programs. The one thing remarkable about Mike is, and it was hard for me to believe, and it'll be hard for all of you to believe, he never played high school football, never played college ball, and he was 25 years old when he went out for a semi-pro team, and here he is now being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he richly deserves it because of all the time that he spent, you know, in youth programs throughout the Valley and the Ohio Valley area, and now up in the Detroit area. Mike, here you are, Mike. Mike, congratulations. I hope I did you okay. Okay. Let me get out of the way here.
Again, I want to thank the board, Chuck McGillicuddy, who had nominated me. He couldn't make it, so God bless Joe. I happened to run across him, and I asked him if he would kindly introduce me, which he did, and I surely appreciate that. As we know, so many players here, we are not alone. We don't get this award alone. So I don't need to talk about myself. I need to talk about a few people who made it possible for me to be here. Number one, the good Lord, Jesus, who gave me the opportunity to be alive. The first person that I would like to honor is my coach, Tom the Bomb Tracy, who thought enough of me that he would make a football player out of me. The next person that I want to thank and again appreciate, of course, my mother, my father, my lady friend who's sitting over here, Joyce, my son, Chad Michael, and again, without loved ones and people that we can cherish things with, awards and things like this really doesn't mean much, and we do not get here alone. Again, I'm humbled to ever think that I could receive an award with all these newfound friends, the new family that I am stepping into. Again, I take this award very humbly. It's hard sometimes to imagine that you would ever be part of such a wonderful fraternity, and I have met several of you fine ball players, and I hope to meet more. No further ado, I want to thank again the good Lord. I want to thank everyone for coming, and of course, being inducted to me, it meant an awful lot, and God bless all. Be careful driving.
Okay, then we'll have Pat Sharp, 2005, come up, and then the next one will be Roman Shazala.
Good evening. My name is Pat Sharp, and I was inducted in 2005. Just in following some of these distinguished speakers, I was thinking about the names, and we all come up with a name for this and a name for that. And one of the names that we give to a player who's really done a good job in the game, we may call him our MVP. And then if we have a player that has a good season, well, we may call him an all-star. But looking at some of these players and some of the people that are involved in semi-pro football, the ones that are here year after year after year, we have a new name for them, and we call it the Hall of Fame. And it is a real honor I have tonight to induct Glenda Kane as an executive who's been with us through the thick and thin for the past 8 years. And when somebody mentioned the old Racine Raiders, it reminds me of the story that Glenda was on the sidelines, as she is on every game. And, of course, the quarterback was being tackled. And unfortunately, he hit Glenda on the sideline and shattered her leg. And she went to the hospital. And a couple of days later, she was in a wheelchair out in Cleveland, Ohio, for one of our other games. So this is a real champion and a real member of the Hall of Fame, Glenda Kane.
Hi, I just want to say, I'm going to try to keep this real short. I want to thank Pat Sharp. I want to thank our head coach, Alicio Saldivar, and also our defensive head coach, Dave Joslin, because they've been with me for a long time. Well, I can't say a long time, the 8 years. And it's because of them that the love of football that I've had for probably 30 years developed into a passion. And you have to have passion to stay in the semi-pro groups. You can't say it's a love of a game for the people that are behind the scenes. The players play for the love of the game. We do it because it's a passion and it's becomes your life. And our team has gone from national champions to division champions to, whoops, we missed that one. And it's just been an amazing ride, and I hope it continues for a while. You know, people, I'm not married, so, but I do have two children that live out of the state, so I don't have to thank them for putting up with me. I have to thank my 2 cats. My cats give up their time on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday nights. Actually, it's all day Saturday for me to pursue this, and believe me, I hear about it when I do get home. So thank you very much, and I am so greatly honored for this. Thank you.
After Roman, we'll have Jerry Schrupp. He'll be next. Before Roman comes up here, I just want to say that after people get inducted, then there becomes a question mark in their mind's eye. What do I do now? What is the organization going to do now? Roman is a perfect example of what you do now. You become part of the organization, you become involved, and you give back to the next class of 2010, 2011, 2015, 2017, 2020. Where do we think that's going to come from? It's going to come from the classes that we're putting in right now, and out of that classes, probably 20% will sign on so that they can offer this honor in 2012, 2014. Roman is a perfect example of that. Thanks, Roman.
Thank you, Jordan. Before I get into presenting Buzz Grady, I'd like to pay respect to one of our Elmhurst Traveler football alumni teammates who recently passed away. Bill Meyer from Fox Lake, Illinois, was inducted into the American Football Association Hall of Fame in 2007 in Sarasota, Florida, when we had our induction. Bill was a member in good standing with the Elmhurst Travelers Football Alumni Association, which I said before is a charter member of the AFA. We all miss Bill. If you saw him here in 2007, he was the guy with the wheelchair. He had, I think, both of his legs severed, and he had a massive heart attack, and he passed away, and we all miss him. So if you could just bear with me, and we please have a moment of silence and prayer in Bill Meyer's honor and memory. Thank you very much. Now to good stuff. Once again, I'm Roman Strazala, class of 2002. Tonight, one of my semi-pro football teammates is going to be inducted into the American Football Hall of Fame tonight for 2009. Frank Buzz Grady. It's kind of hard because we never knew that there was a Frank. There was always a Buzz. And it's very hard for me to call him Frank, so I'm just going to continue to call him Buzz. Buzz played for the Elmhurst Travelers in Elmhurst, Illinois from 1957 to 1963. Buzz was our quarterback and leader on 3 championship teams in 1958, 1959, and 1963. We were also in the 1962 championship game, and we got beat by a surprise Manitowoc team that year. Buzz was our quarterback. He set all kind of records for passing, completions, TDs in the bi-state, tri-state, and central leagues. He was one of a kind. He still is one of a kind. He was our leader and really was the engineer of our Elmhurst Traveler offense, especially in those championship years. In fact, in 1958, the Elmhurst Travelers went undefeated with a record 12-0. Buzz was the guy who was calling the plays in our huddle. And in fact, I remember a few games, George Colton, our coach, the AFA class of 1986, would call in a play. Buzz would look around at us and say, that's not going to work. He looked at Larry Schmidt, looked at me, he says, we're not going to run that play. So we won't, the majority of the time, his decisions would work. And when they would work, everybody would congratulate George Colton on the sideline and say, great play, great call, George. And that was, no accolades went to Buzz for calling the play. It was all George. Those were great times. Buzz Grady is a credit to semi-pro football, and I'm grateful that I got a chance to play with Buzz in the same backfield. And we finally found Buzz last year. He came to our ceremony in Sarasota, Florida. He lives in Inglewood, Florida, and it's a pleasure for me to present inductee Frank Buzz Grady into the AFA Semi-Pro Hall of Fame for 2009.
Thank you, Roman. I had a bunch of notes, but the previous people said all the words I wanted to say, and I just threw them away. But one time we were playing a game, and this is the way I feel now. Roman said I lined up behind the guard instead of the center. I feel that way right now. But I owe one person an apology. Last year when I went to Sarasota, Larry Schmidt, I didn't recognize him because I was facing him. But I saw him bend over and kiss his wife. I says, "There's Larry." But anyway, I am so proud and honored, and I'm shaking like a leaf because nothing like this has ever happened to me before. And it wasn't for my teammates, which voted me in, I wouldn't be here. And it takes 11 guys, or maybe 22 or 33, and if it was, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. But I am proud to be here and to be acknowledged for this honor for the Elmhurst Travelers Alumni Association, and I thank the AFA Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Next will be, after Jerry comes Jim Widget of 1988. Can we do Jerry Schropp now? There we go.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know I timed it at 5.5 minutes, but I too would like to thank the AFA and especially Dave Birch and his group for the effort they put forth to bring the 2009 AFA induction of the Hall of Fame inductees here to the Chicago area. My name is Jerry Schropp of the Elmhurst Travelers. I was inducted in 2008 along with Larry, and I'm here to present one of our inductees to the AFA 2009 Semi-Pro Football Hall of Fame, and his name happens to be Dave Skip Hernandy. However, before I get into his football credentials, which should be up on the thing, let's talk briefly a little bit about Dave. You know, all athletes and athletic teams have some crazies on the team. Well, we've got a crazy on our team, too. Skip was what we call a jokester. It was not unusual for Dave to disguise his voice and phone somebody with some wild, wild tale. He does it to me quite often. Once he called me and told me that he was from the Chicago Archdiocese in Chicago, and I was behind in my tithe. And they expected me to increase my Sunday donations to make up for the shortfall, or at least let them know why I wasn't going to do it. He phoned me again, telling me he was from Mount Emblem Cemetery, and he was inquiring as to my immediate plans for internment because they had already dug the grave and they were wondering if I changed my mind because I wasn't there. That was Skip, okay? He's that kind of guy. But Skip's best stories, I have to tell you, are about dogs. He loves dogs. And if any of you have been around this fella for a while, you'll always hear this story, because he tells the story of being downtown, walking behind a blind man with his seeing eye dog. And it was a very busy Monday morning. And when the blind man comes to a busy intersection, the light turns red, the dog stops, sits down, and the man stops. By this time, Dave has come up to him, and he says, "Wow, what a smart dog and what a well-trained dog." And the blind man looks at Skip somewhat and says, he says, "I appreciate that." So at that time, the blind man replies, "Thank you." And the dog stands up. With that, the dog stands up, raises his leg, and proceeds to take a leak on the blind man's leg. Upon doing that, the blind man reaches in his pocket, pulls out a dog treat, and bends down toward the dog. Now, Skip loses it, and he says, wait a minute. That's not way to treat a dog. You can't train anybody doing that way. That's not correct." And just very calmly, the blind man stands up and says, I appreciate your concern, but he says, I wasn't really trying to locate, give the dog a treat. I was trying to locate his head so I could kick him in the ass. And that's Skip, all right. Like I said, he's a real jokester, but I digress. Skip was a very, very, very great defensive end, and he was very fast. He was very fast. I ought to know because I played linebacker on his side. And he earned his nomination by playing 10 years of great semi-pro football. Let's remember now, like most of the travelers, we're all as old as dirt. So don't be alarmed by the dates that I'm about to give you. Skip started out in Chicago with the Sportsmen in 53 and 54. Then he moved on and joined the Chicago Hornets in 55, 56, and 57. and finally ended up with the Elmhurst Travelers in the years of 58, 59, 60, 61, and 62. And along the way, he played on 3 championship teams. It certainly is a pleasure and an honor for me to introduce Skip because he really has earned it. Let's give him a round of applause to Skip Hernandez. Thanks, Skip. You make it?
Is this the one I owe you the money for?
Yeah. You pay me later,
I'll
okay?
pay you later. Well, I paid you half. No. Do I say something now?
You sure? You can talk now.
Okay. Good cough. Tell you who my doctors are in case anybody is interested. They're pretty good. They kept me alive. Problem is they haven't got Viagra to work. But you can't have everything. What else to say except I'm very thankful that I don't know who it was anymore because my brain is gone, whether you guys believe it or not. And I don't know any more. I mean, I know more words, but I'm just going to be repeating them. I got my wife staring at me, giving me all kinds of, is it time to wipe? Isn't that what that means at home? Quick, wipe and get the hell out of here. So I don't know what I'm doing right or wrong, right? Am I doing it right? Poor camera guy is Norm. Norm, do you remember her? Do you? Do you remember her? What was her name? Edwina Coit. And it was your girlfriend until she met me, Norm. And there's no way you can tell that story many times your way, but I was going to bring her tonight. Just to show you, you weren't first, second, third, fourth. Is there more I should talk about? Or? Norm's virginity is enough. I've never met your wife.
Here, I'll squeeze your cord.
Okay, now I'll have Jim Nugent come up.
I get to say hello to you earlier.
Hello. I get to present someone that I've known for 25 years. Okay. And I first met him as a young football player. And I watched him grow and develop as a football player, just get better and better every year, to where he became a real key piece of teams that were winning championships in the Chicagoland area regularly. And he eventually was the key pieces of winning national championships as well. Ball club had the honor of being in AFA national championships 5 times. I'd like to say we won 5 of them. We only won 2 of them, but there was 5 of them, and he was a key ingredient. And now I get to watch him being a coach, showing the young guys what he did and bringing them along. It's really pretty nice. I'm going to spend a couple minutes just on evolution for him, watching him during this growth process. Just getting bigger, stronger, tougher, and more dedicated year in and year out. The nice part when you talk about getting to these championships is what happens when you win a championship. just a few minutes of pregame type stuff. Our ball club always took field, half of the field pregame, and split up into groups with receivers and quarterbacks, running backs, linebackers, DBs, etc., O linemen and D linemen working together. And I was head coaching, and fun to watch, look out and just see the groups working. But the thing that was always best for me was be on the sideline as guys were going to come back as a group and look over at the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen when they were done working out. This is how I knew how we were going to do that day. Here he would come with his other offensive linemen, and what did they have when they come walking across the field? They had a swagger. The swagger that champions have. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, with a swagger coming out. Right then you knew this was going to be your day. And the guy that had the best swagger of them all is here, and I'm happy to introduce him to you tonight, Andre Holland. Now, show him that swagger.
Hello. I'm not good at this, but this is a fulfilling moment for me, really. A lot of years out there, a lot of years. I'm just proud that I've come this far. I'm still able to move around a little bit. You know, it's tough on the body, tough on the mind, tough on the family, but you hang in there. You know, I learned a lot from my coaches, especially Coach Nugent, Coach Skowronski, Coach O'Reilly, a lot of good friends, Sherry and Sue. A lot of years together, a lot of mileage on my feet, and I'm touched. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're in trouble now. Those were my glasses. We're in big trouble if I don't have those. Okay. Next will be Wes Fisher and then Gary Shaver as presenters. But in the meantime, we should have a shout out to Harry Hopple, who was hospitalized with pneumonia on Monday night, and at last minute had to cancel on advice of his doctor. Here we will be listening to the live webcast, so let's send our congratulations and best wishes for a speedy recovery. Okay, now Wes Fisher, and then on deck will be Gary Shaver.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be able to be up here twice. Thanks to Bill Coleman. Bill nominated one of my players, and I call him my player. He played for me for a couple of years, and played for other teams in our league and out of our league, and kept improving all the time. I'll give you a little history on Jeff Hudson. This is Jeff Hudson to my right, and Jeff played at Stadium High School. He says they didn't have a winning record while he was there. Well, he must have learned something, because he went to the University of Washington, played there through 90 through 93, and in those years they won 2 Rose Bowls and were national champions. You talk about credentials. He played in our league many years. He not only has played, but he becomes he becomes a player coach. He becomes a coach on the field, on the line. And you appreciate guys like that, because they know what's going on, they can make calls, and every once in a while they have a little more bite than they have bark. Of course, Jeff had both of those, but when he barked, his teammates listened, and we could run the ball, we could throw the ball, because our quarterback had time. And every team that he played on, that was one of his hallmarks, is the ability to block and get the job done. Everybody here knows you can't win without good line, both sides of the ball. You can sometimes get away with a little bit of smoke and mirrors with a lot of skilled players, but if you don't have a line, quarterbacks get sacked, and running backs can't gain yards. And then your punter gets really good stats, and he may be smiling, but the rest of the team is having a hard time. So linemen are the real deal, and Jeff's one of those. He played 2 years with the Jets. Kenny Austin is a member of this Hall of Fame. Kenny was the coach there. Played 2 with the Vikings, and he went to the professional level. He played in Arena League in the Portland Prowlers 1 year. He was coached by my friend and has been a coach on my team for a couple of years, Coach Phil Pompeo. Phil is an amazing coach, and I think that you could say that these two guys are best friends. Of course, Phil has friends everywhere. But this isn't about Phil tonight. This is about Jeff. And actually, Jeff played at one time with the Eastside Hawks. It's a team that Sam Adams founded while he was up there in the Northwest and had some time in the summer before he went to training camp with whichever team he was with that year. And Jeff played with him and was an assistant coach there also. Jeff has been a wonderful addition to any team he's ever been on. Turns out that they become winners, and he attracts people like him that want to play with him and add to the team that they're on. And one of the things that Jeff does, and it's like happens to most of us as we move along, we play and we want to be noticed for our play, but then a little bit later on we get down to the end of that playing career, and the next thing you know, you can see a light where you're helpful coaching. And Jeff has actually coached as an assistant coach at the high school level, and I see nothing but that continuing on. One of these days he'll be standing probably up here before you, inducting somebody that he thinks is really special, and I think he's really special, and I'd like you to meet Jeff. Mr. Platt.
It's amazing how awkward you feel when somebody pays you so many compliments. A little story before I get into the stuff that could make me go dick for a meal on all of you. I remember my first days as an offensive lineman in junior high school. Unfortunately, shortly after, watched film of myself play for the first time. In a jamboree, a couple pass plays, getting my stance, imagining watching Joe Jacoby, Jackie Slater, setting a pass set, head swiveling, turning back and forth, drop back, think everything went great. And then I watched that film that following Monday and watched one guy fly right by the inside of me and one guy fly right by the outside of me as I'm sitting there like this, ready to block somebody. That point there, I realized I had an awful lot to learn. This game means a lot to me. I have either played or coached every summer or fall since I was 12 years old. I'm 37 now. This was actually my first fall off from coaching, and to tell you the separation anxiety has not been extreme would be an understatement. But there's so many people that I could definitely thank in this. The first person I'm going to thank is my mother. I lost my dad when I was 12 years old, and she raised me and my sister by herself. And she stood by my pain in the butt several years, and still does to this day. And to me, she's easily the strongest person I've ever met. My grandfather took on the role of being my dad and my supporter through football, through the high school years and the college years. And then I got to experience this great semi-pro experience. And I was not always the easiest person to be around because I played with the chip on my shoulder, the intensity, and some guys get that, some guys don't. And I played hard and nasty and fortunately, through the years that I played, I added to my family with fellow linemen, fellow teammates, and it's been a great experience. And I'll never forget it, and I preach it to the kids that I coach to this day, and when I get back into high school next season, because I can't do another year of not doing it, I'm gonna preach that experience. And one person I would like to thank, Phil Pompeo, who came out with me. He was a guy that came out my second year with the Snohomish County Vikings, and I didn't talk to him for the first 4 weeks of us practicing, and he has become one of my best friends. And Phil, thank you very much for coming out. So thank you again. It's a great honor. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll have Gary Schaefer come up, and then after that'll be Father Joe, and then we're going to do our first drawings of the raffle.
Okay, where's the camera? Because you got to get a good shot. If you don't have your raffle tickets, don't be in a hurry. The winner's right here. Don't worry about it. I'm very happy to be here and help the AFA tonight. I see the AFA is making great progress. You're getting a candy bar tonight. When I got inducted in '79, we got a gumdrop. So things are much better. I wondered why we were coming to Chicago to do a Hall of Fame dinner when we could have been in Florida, where it's sunny, you can play golf. But now I know why we're here. Our president, Dave Birch, got connections with the local police and get away with different things. I saw you had a police escort last night. Now, is it true you had to use the name Bo Boniski to get off the ticket now?
Yeah, that helped.
That's the local joke in the Empire Football League. It's my pleasure to introduce one of the officials. One thing that separates the AFA from the National Football League is we, in our Hall of Fame, honor officials. Next year when we have the dinner at Canton, Ohio, you're going to go to the Hall of Fame, look all around that hall, and you will not see any recognition, any inductee of game officials. AFA does that, and it's my pleasure to continue that custom of recognizing their contribution to the game. Now, I must share with you, you probably don't know that, it just came out on TV a few minutes ago, that the NFL has turned down a request from Major League Baseball to use their officials for the World Series. The way the Major League Baseball officials have been making calls, they want to get rid of them. But you know the football guys are strong and they're ready to go. Where's Jim? Oh, Jim's here? Okay. As you can see, Jim's an experienced football guy. Not only in the Chicago area, but Wisconsin, Indiana. 25 years of service in the Illinois High School Association. Now, what Jim doesn't know is there was some concern in the committee, Hall of Fame committee, when his nomination came. They didn't know whether to give him the Hall of Fame award or the Yellow Flag Award. It seems that you're known in this state, you can see, and you're known in this state for having extra flags in your pocket. But my pleasure to introduce you, Jim. Come up here and accept the award that you have earned so trustfully. Oh, thank you very much. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you.
It's your buddies that told me about that.
I figured it would.
I'll get out of your way. Oh, you got to sign the football.
I'll get that after.
I'm right here.
This is super. This is super. Look at that. My officials at one time actually took one of my flags and sewed it to the inside of my pants so I couldn't pull it out. But this is such an honor. I thank Craig Ochoa and Paul Whiteside for the nomination. I thank all of you out here for, if you didn't play the game, we wouldn't be able to officiate it. I also have to thank my family. I have a son and 3 daughters. 6 months ago, I was blessed with a brand new granddaughter. And of course, my best friend, Kathy, would you stand please, is my wife. This young lady has been with me the whole time, never said a word, always been behind me, always took those knickers to get them cleaned. Never had a problem. In fact, she used to come and watch some of the ball games. In fact, when we were doing Special Olympics down in Bloomington Normal, she came down for a half hour just to see us and then went home. And that to me was an honor. I can't thank you enough. It's just an honor and a pleasure for me to be here tonight. My daughter's with us here somewhere. I don't know where she went to. Julie, there she is. She's taking some pictures. And I appreciate it, and thank you very much for this honor.
Okay, we'll have Father Joe come up and do the next presentation. Then after that, we'll do some of the raffles. Father Joe.
I bet you're all wondering, whoa, what is this? Is this a first to have a member of the clergy introduce one of the inductees? This is not a Halloween costume. This is really who I am. I'm not going to pass a basket around to all of you asking you for a donation. The man I'm going to introduce to you is a very, very close personal friend of mine, and I consider to be a member of his family. I've known Don Manchester for over 35 years, ever since his 2 sons were athletes at Gordon Tech High School. Those of you from the Chicago area certainly know Gordon Tech. That's where I'm from. The legendary coach Tom Wienecke. Gordon Tech is a Catholic parochial school that won the IHSA state football title in 1980. And I'm proud to be from that particular school. I also think it's very, if you look in your program, you'll see that the inductees or the various classes are much larger for the coaches and semi-pro players. Don Manchester is getting his award this evening for being an official. He was nominated by Charlie Bliss from the class of 1990. I think that says a lot about Don, to be nominated by a semi-pro player, because I don't think officials always are held in such high esteem with players or our youth. Another outstanding factor about Don is that in his early years, he taught over 13 years at St. Edward's High School in their football program as a coach. And I think that really inspired him and taught him a lot when he became official. He's a role model for me. He is also a role model for the young men at St. Edward's that he coached. And he was known to the players in the Catholic League because of the things he might say to them, and I'd like to quote him. When he was officiating high school, if an athlete screwed up and got a penalty, he would walk up to that athlete and calmly say right on the field, "How could an athlete of your superb ability do something so stupid?" Or, if the athlete said some foul or obscene word, he would approach that young man and say, "You know, you really disappointed me by what you said. You are not, in my estimation, a true athlete as you should be. The next time you do that, you're out of the game." He really had a way in which he dealt with young people when he was a coach in grammar school and when he also officiated at high school games. I'm not going to go through his list. You can read the things that he has done. And there was Henry Miller in the book Wisdom of the Heart had to say this: the real leader has no need to lead. He is content to point the way. And I think Don has always pointed the way to young people and to the players as to the path that they should select, that they should walk. And it's a great honor for me to present to you Don Manchester.
Okay, I want to say thank you to one person in my life, my wife Esther. See, I tell you, I had the whitest I had the whitest knickers in the league all over the world, and I was very fortunate to have her. Mommy, thank you. And my grandchildren, thanks again for coming. It's hard to say this, but I enjoyed every minute with these guys. These young officials that I work with and the players that I work for, they always gave me something back. They were always good kids. Some were a little weird sometimes, but we handled them guys. But I learned something from a guy named Jerry Mike Bright. He said, see what you call and call what you see. And that's the way you have to be it. As an official, if you do it any other way, you got to get out. And another guy, was Mark right? No, Cal Lepore, God rest his soul, when he said, never, ever be late for a ball game. Thanks again. But Jim, let me tell you something, pal. I got your back. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, I understand we're on pretty much right on schedule, and so we're going to do some raffles right now. And if anybody wants to buy any more raffle tickets, we'll probably take 3-4 minutes to do that, and we'll start pulling them out. It's kind of interesting that at the end here, we got the two officials, and one always wonders what happens at the beginning of the game when the officials come up and introduce themselves to you. And I always have one particular speech that I give them. I've been, as you know, started with the Racine Raiders in 1964, went all the way through that, then coached college football and get back. So I've been a lot of officials. And I always tell them that my biggest problem in coaching is that we're going to have 11 players on the field for 60 offensive plays, which is 660 plays, and we're going to have 11 defensive players on the field for 60 plays. That's 660 plays. So we're going to be out there for 1,200 or 1,320 plays. How anybody can think that one or two mistakes by an official messes up the game when we've made 250 or 300 mistakes. So what we have to do is take our 300 mistakes down to 200 and not worry about the officials' one or two mistakes. So I really appreciate what the officials have to do, and I think that if we instill that into our players, things go a lot further than thinking that the officials affect the games. Okay. Are we ready to draw some of those? I was going to tell you jokes, but I didn't know we were going to be on TV. I didn't know we were going to be on TV, so we had to stop that. All right. Grab one, okay. All right, here we go. 371-500. 371-500. It's for right over there. Go over there and pick it up. We're going to move fast here. That's not the joke. That's the number. All right. 372812. 372812. We got anybody out there like that? We've got 371128. We got a winner back there. Okay. The girls will get it. The girls bring it to you. Wave your hand. All right. 372550. 372550. We got one there? Here we are over here. Okay. 371772. Oh, yeah. 1772. 371772. We got a winner out there? Okay, here we go. 372325. 2325. We got one over there. Shake up the bucket. Take them out of my pocket, right. 372802. 372802. You got a winner on that? 372517. 372517. Here we are right here. Okay. 372051. 2051. We got another one? 2054. Looks like they stuck together. 2054. 1495. 371495. Here we got a winner back there. Okay. 371898. 1898. 371898. One back there, okay. 371898. 372445. 2445. Here we are over here. We got a winner over here. Right over here. 371338. 1338. 371338. We got a winner out there? Three 2207. 2207. 372207. Here we are. Okay. Three 371384. 371384. 1384. We have a 1384 out there. Here we are back here. Okay. One 247. 371247. Here we are right here as a winner. Okay, here we go. 372316. 372316. Yeah. 2316. Three more. Okay. 2549. 372549. Do we have a winner out there? Right here. Okay. Three 1362. 1362. Do we have a winner out there? 1362. 1362. There we are. There's a winner back here. That's it. Okay. We can throw these away. Yeah, we'll throw these away. All right. Okay, we'll have another. Hello, my friends. If any of my friends didn't get anything, let me know. I'll put the tickets in my pocket here. So we'll have another raffle after we go through our next set of inductees. And then at the end, we have 3 things over there that we want to auction off. You can see the silver plate and a walking stick handmade by Moose. And we'll do that at the end. And then we'll have our raffle. Okay, let's get back to the introductions. We'll have Jay McGee's brother come up, and then Moose Fahey will come up after that.
Hello, my name's Skip McGee, and I just want to say a couple of words about Jay. Jay McGee played for the Randolph Warriors for 14 seasons. He's won a Super Bowl, he's dedicated to his team, and he's a great teammate. My brother, my best friend, Jay McGee.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the AFA Hall of Fame committee for inducting me, and a special thanks to Peter O'Kane for nominating me. I would also like to recognize and congratulate my fellow inductees here this evening, who will also earn their place in the Hall of Fame. It is an honor to be a part of this family, and a privilege to become a member. From my beginnings as a running back for the Brockton High School Boxers, I have been fortunate to have the support of my brother Skip, who is here with me tonight. It was a true honor to play ball for one of the most successful high school football coaches in Massachusetts, in Colombo, and one of the best high school football programs in the state, which more Super Bowl championships than any other school in the state. Because of my experience at Brockton High, I attended the University of Hawaii on an athletic scholarship and had an honor of playing for the UH Warriors. As an adult, I was able to secure a position on the Eastern Football League semi-pro team, the Randolph Oilers. The Oilers have become a second family to me. The high level of talent our competitors have shown in the league over the years has been impressive. All athletes who play purely for the love of the game. I played 14 great years with the Oilers, and I'm current record holder as the all-time leading rusher in the EFL. I am grateful that I have been able to make that contribution to the EFL. Football, more than any other sport, reflects teamwork and perseverance. My part as a player with the Oilers directly reflects the dedication and commitment of my coaches and teammates. My success is because of them. I will forever be in debt to them in the game. The friendships I have made, passion of football, and the spirit of competition will always be with me. Thank you again for this great honor.
Moose, you want to come up here and introduce? And then you want to explain a little bit about your walking stick, too, while we're here? Sure. Let's see how much we can get for your walking stick.
They go for $1,000 a piece. I wished. Hi, folks. My name is Moose Fahey. I'm from the great state of Washington. Come a long ways. I've been coming here ever since I've been inducted in 1995. And before I bring my good friend up, Joe, I would like to turn around and thank Dave Birch for filling some great shoes. The gentleman that I'm going to be introducing is Joe Millick. Joe and I played ball together way back in 1967 when we were with the San Diego Chargers farm team out of Joliet, Illinois. Back then, in the PFL, every team in the league was hooked up with an NFL team. One heck of a league. So we took the championship that year, and after 40-some years, I got my baby. So Joe Millick played high school at East Leiden High School in Franklin Park, and he was all-state in football, third place in the state. And his senior year he got hurt and he didn't play. In college, he went to the University of Wisconsin and was on the Rose Bowl team in 1963. Lettered 3 years, linebacker, 4 years in wrestling, and middleweight heavyweight division. In his minor league football, which he almost caught up with me because I played with about 10 or 11 teams all over the United States. I was well traveled, but I still beat him by about 4 or 5. He played with the Madison Mustangs in '65, Elmhurst Travelers in '66, Joliet Chargers in the Professional Football League in '67. In '68 and '69, he was with the Chicago Owls, which I played with him in Chicago Owls, and went back to Joliet. And in '71 to '73, played with the Rockford Rams in the Central States League. So I want to bring up my good friend, Joe Millick.
Wow, what an honor. Not only for myself, but I want to tell you it's as big an honor for my wife, who's with me tonight, Jenny, and my lovely daughter, who's right now watching this telecast from Santa Monica, California. She couldn't be here tonight. She's working out there now. In fact, I told you my wife is with me as excited as I am. I think she sent the award announcement to about every friend we have. And I've been getting phone calls and emails for the last week and a half, so we're all pretty happy about it in our family. I want to thank the American Football Association Board of Directors for voting for my acceptance. And of course, I want to thank my sponsor and very good friend, Big Ralph Fahey, or better known as Moose. I think about everybody knows Moose, for recommending me. As Ralph alluded to, I had the good fortune when I was young to experience a lot of success, both in high school and then going on to play in college for the University of Wisconsin, where probably played in one of the most exciting games I ever played in was the '63 Rose Bowl game. They still highlight that game on television before the Rose Bowls, many of them, as one of the most exciting games ever played. And I can tell you for a fact it surely was. This younger success that I experienced provided the opportunity for me to join the semi-professional football league when I finished. And two of the teams I played on, as Ralph mentioned, were the Chicago Owls in the Continental League and the Joliet Chargers, where we did win the championship. While playing on both these teams, I met a true inspirational player and leader through the Moose. Ralph was one of the toughest guys, both on and off the field, that I think I ever played with. And I know this meeting tonight and this program is intended to kind of honor us, the inductees, but if you don't mind, I got to tell a little story about Ralph, because many of you, or just about all of you, know him. I think you'll enjoy it. I said he was a tough guy. And to give you an example of that, he was like most of us in those days, and we had several jobs to help support. He had several jobs to help support himself while he pursued his passion, which was football. One of these jobs was a greeter and bouncer in one of Chicago's finest Rush Street bars. Well, it seems he was at the door one night doing his job, and a very unruly drunk tried to get into the bar, where he was met by the moose. At this point, some words were exchanged along with a few punches, and the unruly drunk decided the best way to stop a charging moose was to use a gun, and I mean literally use a gun. At that point, he took out a .22 caliber pistol and put a round into Big Ralph. Now, Ralph is maybe the only guy I know that could grab the gun out of the drunk's hand, grab the drunk by the neck, and hold him while the police and ambulance came after he was shot. Apparently that drunk didn't realize it takes more than a pea shooter to stop a charging moose. Ralph Fahey, a great inspiration. In closing, I want to thank you again for giving me this award, and I'm sure many of you, if not most of you, are still like me with dealing with the torn rotator cuffs, the bad backs, the bad knees, and the many other injuries that we suffered along the way. But this type of recognition and award makes those pains seem a lot more tolerable and brings back the joys of a great past. Thank you.
Okay, and Moose is going to come back up here. He has a few more things that he wants to do. Moose?
Thanks, Doc. Unfortunately, the other gentleman that I was going to present tonight couldn't make it. He wound up in the hospital, and he gave me a call this afternoon. His wife called me this afternoon, and he had 10 people coming. And he was a heck of a ball player. He was went to school at Western Michigan, 10th draft choice out of Western for San Diego Chargers, and he wound up coming with us in Joliet, and we were out there practicing, and it's really tough because when San Diego was sending us ball players, and especially the big ones, and you're out there practicing, he says, I'm thinking to myself, that big sucker, he's coming to take my job. I better not miss no practices. I better listen to what's going on. So anyway, Torrey joined us with a great team of Joliet in '67, and then he moved on to play with the Owls, Chicago Owls, where he is most valuable player on the offensive line. God bless him. Godspeed for him getting well. Torrey Osmo.
Okay, so we have Matt Rader and Greg Skronsky's next. Matt Rader want to come up and introduce Chuck Rader? Here they come.
Good evening, everyone. Please bear with me as I'm quite younger than the rest of the presenters tonight. But I'm going to start off by thanking the AFA and everyone here for getting me and my dad to come out here to receive such an honor. But I'm just going to start by giving a little brief resume of my father's history. My father started off at St. James High School in Chester, PA, and graduated in 1958. From there, he went on to play at the University of Scranton and was a two-way starting guard and linebacker. He was a leading tackler and was eventually drafted by the New York Giants but decided not to sign. In 1971, my father formed the Lackawanna County Eagles, the Empire Football League, as the general manager, head coach, and starting middle linebacker. And in 1971, they finished with a record of 10 wins and 1 loss, and he was named the EFL Coach of the Year and second-team All-League Scranton Times Sports Person of the Year. And in 1972, he went on to be the EFL Coach of the Year again and first-team All-League starting linebacker or all-league linebacker. In 1974, resigned as head coach. But from 1975 to 1978, my father served as head coach of the University of Scranton. And although they were just a club football team, they played many Division III teams and ended up with a winning record. And in 1982, my father formed the Scranton Eagles in the Empire Football League once again. And by the end of the year, they were the EFL League champions, and my father was named the EFL Coach of the Year. And after losing to Racine, Wisconsin in the MPFA National Championship game in 1984, my father and the Scranton Eagles went on to beat Racine in the MPFA National Championship game and were declared national champions. My father was named the MPFA National Coach of the Year. And from there, he went on to start another family, which I'm a proud product of. And he went on to start his own insurance business. And I know everyone back in Scranton and all of his grandchildren are very proud. And he's a great guy. And I just want to thank you again. Chick Rader.
Unfortunately, this little buck wasn't alive for worth most of what I did because he wasn't born yet. But I can say this, that he's had his own accomplishments, his own football, basketball, and track accomplishments that were off the charts. And I can't tell you how much it means to me to have him here with me today. And just be able to get up and be my presenter. I just want to thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it, buddy. People to thank are easy. Every one of us coached, played, did whatever we did in football. But behind us was a family that had to sacrifice an awful lot, especially for some of the guys that played for and coached for as long as, or much longer than I did. And you have a family, and I have 9 children who all were a part of this and had some sacrifice involved. And my wife at home, who was a part of it and sacrificed. And that's somebody I have to thank. I also want to thank Mark Lloyd, who was my nominator. He's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Mark used to play for me. And the real reason why I'm here is if you look at that list of past inductees, I happen to be fortunate enough, if you count Mike Brennan, who was supposed to be inducted today, I know he's not here, but if you count Mike Brennan, I have 10 guys on that list, which I'm very proud of, that played for me at one time, which is an awful lot for one young coach that I am to have on a list. So that's who I owe a lot of thanks to. And I also owe some thanks to Dave Birch right here, because basically yeah, shut up. But he was, when minor league football got off the ground in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the biggest ticket in town, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, the biggest ticket in town in Binghamton, New York, and Scranton, Pennsylvania, was the Lackawanna County Eagles versus the Tri-City Jets. He played against me, I played against him. And it was not unusual to have 15, not 12 or not 10,000, 15,000 people packed into the stadiums that they played in and we played in to see us play. And that was just so great for minor league football. But again, thank you all. Thanks to the association. I really appreciate them choosing me. And good luck to all of us. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have Greg come up, and then Roman will be after that. Here they come.
Now, this young man here is not Fred. This is AJ. And AJ plays all the positions, and he's going to be just like his dad, and he's going to be a great football player, right? That's right. And I'm his agent. Let me just tell you a few things about Fred. I was honored to coach Fred in several All-Star games, and Fred was in several Casino Bowls in Las Vegas. And the thing is, he was MVP in 3 National All-Star games, which is pretty good. Also, I had the honor of coaching Fred in an All-Star game where we decided to play 18-minute quarters. This way everybody gets a lot of playing time, right? Game goes to sudden death. Okay, so we win with 13:50 gone in the overtime period, which was only 15 minutes. You know, thank God, because it was an ordeal to play a game that long. It's like playing 2 games. But anyway, if you're going to play that long, you're in a very good position if you got somebody like Fred Robinson playing in the game. One thing I noted about Fred was all of his accomplishments here, and you could see that. But besides that, Fred was an impact player. I mean, he was tough. They would double team him, he'd break the double team. They try to get outside of him, he'd run the backs down. They go back to throw the ball, quarterback gets sacked. Well, they're going to fool him, they'll run a reverse. Negative yardage play. And this is on and on and on, because he's that good of a football player and a smart football player. But he is even greater as a man, as an individual, as a person. And everything he accomplished on the football field was sort of a model for everyone else to follow. And now I'd like you to meet Fred Robinson. Fred, I'd like to present this to you. Put your hands on that too, AJ. All right, very good.
I'd like to thank Greg for sponsoring me tonight. I didn't have no speech I wrote out. I done changed it about 50 times already, and I done changed it about 10 more times since I stepped up here. I just want to thank God, for giving me the talent to be able to play this game and play as long as I did. I'd like to thank my parents who raised me, and my mom who didn't want a scrawny little kid to play football, even in high school, because she was scared I was going to break a bone. So I just want to let her know that she was right. I did break a bone in my finger. My wife, who, we've been married 12 years on the 19th. And I know she must love me because she let me travel to Dallas, Texas to play in a football game the night before our wedding. So all the years I told her you didn't support me when you wanted me to retire, I know you did. I traveled with my brother too, so I blame him. I'm going to be short, but it's funny how you remember things people say to you. There was a coach in high school my senior year. He wasn't even a teacher at the school yet. He was just an assistant. He used to be on my back all the time. Mr. Quilty. He used to say, "Fred, how good you want to be?" Even though I thought I did it right, he always in my face, "Nope, you didn't do it right. How good you want to be? How good you want to be?" And it stuck with me still to this day. And I want to thank Greg, my family, everybody in the AFA for validating how good I've become. Thank you.
Okay, Roman, you want to come up and introduce your lecture?
Well, we're getting down to nitty gritty, I guess. I'm here again to present another one of my Elmhurst Traveler teammates into the American Football Hall of Fame. Mel Yarkey is not only a teammate of mine, but he's a good friend. He lives in St. Louis, Missouri, and we recently, last year, we started the Elmhurst Traveler Football Alumni Association. We've got 36 members. Mel, who lives in St. Louis, Missouri, believe it or not, comes to our meetings. He flies down for the meeting and then goes right back. And I said, you talk about enthusiasm and dedication. This guy's really got it. We both played for the Travelers in Elmhurst, Illinois. Mel played from 1955 to 1963 and played on those 3 championship teams of 1958, 1959, and 1963. And believe me, we are still smarting from getting beat by Manitowoc in that championship game in 1962 after beating them twice. And that was 47 years ago, believe me. And these guys know what I'm talking about, Norm and Larry. You know, we were reminiscing a little bit today about that. Back in the 50s and 60s, semi-pro football in our area, the Chicago area, was very dominant. Mel Yarkey played on the defensive line. He was a defensive tackle. Now you call him 1 techniques, 3 techniques, 5 techniques. He could play any place that George Colton wanted him to play. George Colton was inducted in the AFA in 1986. Monk, as we called him, played for the love of the game and a few beers after the game like we all did. You guys all remember being in George Colton's basement watching game film, drinking his grain belt beer. The only trouble is he used to count them. Remember that, Jimmy? Huh? Well, I wish we had those films back. Your dad was something else. Mel paid his dues like so many of the other semi-pro football players did in the 50s and 60s. I'm glad we haven't forgotten the players who played in that era because they truly made semi-pro football what it is today. Yark was always there, a great teammate, and rightfully deserves this honor. You can see by his stature, I can hide behind him. With his extended enthusiasm for semi-pro football and the AFA, Yark will be a welcome and great addition to our AFA alumni team. And Jordan alluded to we would need more people to get involved. This is one of the guys that's going to keep this going for 2010, 2011, and 2013 because his enthusiasm is catching, and that's the kind of people we need to keep the AFA going. So without anything else to do here, I'd like to present inductee Mel Yarkey into the 2009 Hall of Fame.
Wow, after that kind of an introduction, what's left to say? If you notice up there, I wore number 54 in the early days of my affiliation with the Travelers. 3 years ago, my grandson drew his first football uniform at a high school he attends in Kentucky, and he drew number 54, and that was the highlight of his day. He wore the same number as his grandfather did. I'd like to thank the Elmhurst Travelers Alumni Association for their confidence in me in submitting my name as a prospective Hall of Fame member, and I'd like to thank the Executive Board for their passage on my name. He was right when he said that back then we played for the love of the game because that's all there was. But one thing it did for me, and I carry it with me to this day, is it made me semi-pro and proud. Thank you very much.
Rome just reminded me, or brought to my attention, we have a silent auction in the back corner if you want to do something on the way out besides the live auction, besides the raffle that we're going to do. And we're still on schedule, so don't worry, we're going to keep her going. That's the one thing they made me swear to and sign in blood, that I'd keep her on schedule, so we're going to keep her on schedule. So we got Larry DeVoe, who's going to come up and...
Once again, it's an honor and a pleasure to be before you guys this evening. Congratulations to all the new inductees and all the other Hall of Famers. It's my pleasure tonight to David's sick. David Moulton played ball with me for 9 years in the Eastern Football League. Every year that we competed, he was a special person, I can honestly say. You can see up on the board there that he was so special that he forgot what teams he played for, because that's how bad he was. He was crazy as a bedbug. But David was a hell of a football player. He's a very good friend. He's sick now. He's battling. He's has anemia, but things aren't well. But hopefully, David, I'm looking out to you today. If you're at the broadcast, God bless. I played with him in 1973, 1974, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. Every year that we played together, we were on a championship football team. It didn't happen to be all, it wasn't the same teams. We were like bingos, traveling all-star. But it's a pleasure tonight to welcome David to this fraternity, and thank you. I'd like to thank the committee. I'd like to thank Sil and Ron Reel for the things that they've done to bring us all here tonight, because it's certainly it's a wonderful honor for David and everybody else that's part of this fraternity. And I'd like to congratulate David Moulton one more time for being the newest inductee of the AFA Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Just want to bring to your attention, don't forget about the logo wear, T-shirts, hats over here. I want to recognize our videographers, Steve Weed and company from Watertown, New York. They drove out with all of their gear, and they're doing the webcast, and they're doing the photos. And let's see, if you want copies of your photos, they'll be online. They're going to be on your website, right? And we'll give you the link, and you can download the full resolution version of these photos, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is assemble all of this year's inductees under the banner, okay, for the group shot. So don't leave yet. We'll take our group shot with the videographers, and then everyone else can fill in and start taking your individual shots. But I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's online watching us. Thank all of you for coming out to join us. And I think it was a very successful, fun-filled evening. Steve, DVDs, they're going to be available online somehow, and we'll have the link there for you to get copies of those too. Okay? So again, thanks for your support, and let's get the inductees for this year over under the banner. We'll get a quick shot, and then everyone else can take your individual shots, and you can fill in and everything else. Okay? Thanks again, and don't forget about breakfast tomorrow morning in the Sorrow Room at 9 o'clock. Okay? Thank you. This year's inductees, make sure you bring your plaques up with you, okay?
Don't forget your plaques for your pictures.
Who took the ball?
I don't know. Okay, here's our video guy. Is he all set? Cameraman? Yeah, the photo. Where is he? Where'd he go? Oh, there you are. No wonder everybody was crowding around you.
Very successful evening.
Yes, thank you. Very good. Let's get things going. Okay, let's mosey on up. This year's inductees. Come on, Chick Raider. We'll race you in the 40.
too. Here, David. Here, David. What are you doing, Dan?
I'm looking like I'm really proud of him.
Oh, I'm just
Okay,
standing
do-
there.
Okay, make sure you're taking advantage of this while they're still in position before they break up and go off to the bar. Get your shots for your families. Steve? So we're gonna meet at the bar? I'm not going out for burgers tonight. I got stopped by the police last night. Yeah, we went out for hamburgers.
That's pretty funny. That was good. I've had a tough time
That's what was going on. But that was only the outcome. It wasn't affecting Nice seeing you again, sir. Thank you for your
Oh, you know, hey,
Hey,
I wanted to say,
thanks.
have the young lady who we get the rings.
Cindy.
Put her back on the website. I called her a couple of times. She never got back with me, and I didn't keep the number. That would be.
And I
something
got
good
her
to have
email
on there.
address too.
Do you?
Yeah, because I just talked to her the other day. She's hard to get a hold of.
She is hard
but
to
she
get a hold of.
works like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting emails from her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got the other ring.